Yeah, we are live.
Check. I got nothing. What's up, guys? Hang on, a little technical difficulty here. I think we got it.
Yeah, we're good to go now. Can you hear us?
You got you. Yeah, I got you.
Do I need to have that on?
You don't have to.
You don't have to, no.
It's up to you.
But it.
All right.
I feel fancy when I wear the headphones. I feel like a real podcaster.
I feel like I can hear what they're hearing, right? So I know that I'm being picked up by the mic. That's basically why I wear it.
Yeah.
But what's up, guys? I'm Ray, and this is Dirk, and that's Sean, and this is Splitting Hairs Podcast.
And our guest this week, Sean Smith, is the author of 3 Miles?
3 Miles of Eden.
3 Miles of Eden. No, that's right. That was all right. That's a cool name, by the way. I think that.
Well, it was funny. While I was writing it, I met an author named John Hart, who's super famous, all kinds of books, that sort of stuff. But he was the roommate of my first boss at the Pilot. I was a sports editor of the Pilot, so he came down to our little bookstore in Southern Pines. And I knew I had something when I met him, and he was like, "That's a cool time."
It is, and I haven't read too much of it. I'm way too busy to sit down and read anything. I have leafed through like the first couple pages and everything, but I didn't get a chance, like I said, to dive into it to really understand the book yet.
I wasn't offered a copy. I don't know. I would have read it.
I got a signed copy.
There you go.
Yeah.
My girlfriend hasn't even read it, so I wouldn't sweat it.
Oh, yeah.
I never have time to just sit down and read anything. You know, there's always something going on. There's a problem I've got to go handle. I've got to take a trip to go purchase something. Like, there's just always something.
Well, what's funny is there was a local book club that finally picked it up and read it. And it was funny because they invited me to come in and speak. And it's all these women in their 40s and 50s. There's one dude in the place. And they were all huge fans of it.
I don't think a lot of guys actually read like that. Honestly, I'm not saying that they don't read stuff, but I don't think that a lot of guys sit down and read novels.
No.
We're more into like nonfiction type stuff. Like I want to learn a little something more and everything.
What's it about?
Well, basically, what's funny is the lead character is named Ray, all right? And he's in the midst of his wife has absconded with his daughter. She's got a pill addiction that she's trying to cure herself, but she took her daughter with her. So he's dealing with all that. And then while that's going on, he finds his best friend dead in the lake.
Oh.
And so because either drink himself to death or throw himself into the investigation, he throws himself into the investigation. And what he finds during the investigation is a time anomaly in which he's able to go back to when they were kids living in the same neighborhood in 1984. So, but it's confined to this like 3-mile circumference. And his job is to try to undo the murder via this time.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
30 years in the past.
Yeah.
And, he actually makes things worse.
That's got to be difficult to write about too. That the time when you start messing with timelines and stuff like that, it gets difficult even just trying to explain it. Now you're trying to alter things and you're trying to explain where it was, where it's going.
It's very difficult. I had 2 or 3 charts in which I had to keep my timeline straight. And not only that, I had to do a buttload of research. What was on because I use a lot of music in my writing. Mm-hmm. It's like a Greek chorus to the novel. What was on the charts in the summer '84? I desperately wanted to use Prince, but Purple Rain had not been released, so I couldn't use Purple Rain. So I had Duran and certain quotes, the Police, and that sort of. I was very detailed, which the book clubs really love.
Mm-hmm.
They really love the specifics of it. But yeah, tabs on the time was a bitch.
No doubt.
Are you following the rules of time travel? Like it,
What rules?
there's rules to time travel.
Yeah.
Like you can't talk to yourself, I guess. Or
No.
But so that's to the author's discretion, right?
Yeah.
Like it's his universe. He's creating a universe. He makes the rules.
Well, here's the thing I learned from Stephen King. I give him a shout out in the book. If you write well enough, you can get away with damn near anything. You really can. So there are rules. He is confined to the 3 Mile Loop. So it's not like he can go to the movies in Southern Pines and go see his. And the other thing is he inhabits his 12-year-old self.
oh, that
So
makes things
yeah.
difficult.
Yeah. He's not going to run it, but he does run into his mom. And my mom, she was the first one to read the book. And I have her coming out with her Sue Ellen Ewing hairdo circa the 80s in her jersey. And she goes, "That's not fair." Don't.
Carr says hello.
Hello.
Yeah, and if you guys got any questions for Sean or Dirk or myself, feel free to shoot them in. We'd be more than happy to answer them for you.
The bigger news is the fact that I started work in earnest on the new one.
I was gonna ask. Yeah.
And well, the thing about 3 Mile is I wrote that opening scene where you find the guy dead. I sat on it for like 2-3 years, didn't do a thing with it. And then one day I sat down and did a Forrest Gump, where he says, "I just feel like running." And I just, by the end of the summer, I had a whole book. And that's what I think is, now that I'm settled in my house, Reynos, and I just bought one of the 100-year-old houses here in town.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's gorgeous. He's seen it. That back porch is made for writing books. The new one, though, doesn't involve time travel, but the same characters, and stars the protagonists are an autistic teenager and an adolescent Latino girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's more about human trafficking than it is about murder, but it's still a mystery.
So I mean, is this kind of picking up from where the last book left off, or
It's picking up with the detritus of 3 Mile. 5-6 years later, the aftermath of they're trying to put themselves back together. People have PTSD and shit like that, and they're all, but they're more like, if you look at the new Star Wars movies, where the original cast is more like the supporting cast, and the new,
Yeah.
that's where Sequoia Legacy, which is the name of the book, picks up. It uses the originals as more of a supporting cast.
okay?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Interesting. So basically, while you still have some of the cast members, it's not exactly picking up at the end of it, yet it's still in a whole different portion of these folks' lives.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so yeah, like all this changed in the past, and then maybe it's pushed these guys onto this new direction, and here's what happened to them.
What's
Is that
funny-
kind of what you're doing?
What's funny about 3 Mile is only 2 of the main characters live near each other. Now they all live in the same place again, just like they did in the 80s when they were adolescent boys. They're all back together, doing their own thing, living an adult life, and everything seems to be good. Okay, but there's something about that lake and Sequoia. Shit goes awry.
Yeah. Okay.
And they best handle it together. Even if it doesn't involve them. It always involves them, whether it involves them or not. But I would say I would look for the new book about this time next year.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
That's actually pretty quick.
How long did it take after the first book came out that you're like, okay, it's done, but now I gotta.
Oh no, this was going to be a one and done. That was it. Nobody wanted it. I shopped it around to publishers, and they're like, "It's weird. It's got a sci-fi element, but it's not a sci-fi book. It's a throwback to the '80s. We love that." They didn't know what to do with it, and they were like, "I was like, screw it. I'll publish it myself." It cost me $2,400 to hire a professional editor to look at it, hire a professional cover designer, and put it out myself. I made my money back in a month. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you were Sandhill's best-selling
Yeah.
author for a minute there, weren't you?
Yeah.
Are you gonna self-publish this one, or did somebody?
Oh, yeah.
pick it up?
I don't care who pay. I don't. Why would I? Because if you look at publishing deals, unless you're John Hart or Stephen
Yeah.
King or you're not making any money. They're making money, and they kick you. But what you do get when you have those guys is a marketing team.
Mhm.
There is no marketing team. It's just me.
Mhm.
It's word of mouth.
I
That's what
understand.
yeah. So I would sell more, but would I make any more money? I don't know. You know.
Probably not.
Probably
Yeah,
not.
probably not.
Yeah.
They would.
They would. They would.
Well, I mean, obviously, you get in anything you're going to do and put your effort into, you're trying to make money off of it. But at what rank is like the money a priority for you?
Well, I rank it where I rank my acting, which was it's a nice chunk of money to go buy a TV or pay off your car or whatever. That's all it ever was. It was never going to be a profession. You know, it was going to be something to do. Like, it's fun. My daughter pulls up my own movies and commercials up on YouTube or whatever. And that's cool that you have that for your daughter. There's dad when he was 30. There's dad when he was 40. There's dad with hair down to his ass at 25. That's fun. Same as the book, you know. That is nothing but stuff for your daughter.
Yeah.
Once you're gone, that's it. No, it's nothing more than that.
Well, I mean, she's always going to have that. You know what I mean?
Well, the funny thing is, she's helping me write the next one because in 3 Mile, she was 5 years old. So I wrote the things that she said, the way her pattern of speech and that sort of thing. Now she's 13 and an AIG student and a winner of the Young Authors Award. So she's
That's cool.
she's writing her own parts. You know, I said, imagine you got in a fight with daddy's girlfriend, whatever. Give me something. And she gives it to me, and I spin it to what I need. So we're going to co-op.
That's
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's less about money making. It's more about, hey.
leaving a legacy.
Yeah, leaving a legacy. And that's the name of the book, Sequoia Legacy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So are you planning on doing? I'm sorry. If you want to go ahead,
Well,
man.
I'm not a religious person, but I take things from it. And at the very beginning, it said God created us in His image,
Mhm.
right? But the whole first part's about creating,
Mhm.
and I've never really been happy unless I'm creating something and living the cake. You know what I mean?
Well, what's funny is I had to leave the whole film industry behind. I had a daughter. You can't be running off to auditions in Charlotte and the coast when you have a daughter that's up all night, need to be fed, needs to do whatever. So I gave it up altogether. Not that it was going anywhere, but it was building. It was a going concern. And my daughter's always like, go back to it, go back to it. I'm like, yeah, I don't think you understand what that life is like, where you drop everything and you got to go for an audition and a chance maybe to be in a stupid thing that pays you this much amount, which is a flat rate now. It's just a lot of trouble to do. But again, the only reason I would ever do it is for my daughter, just have something for my daughter and my grandkids to look at. That's your granddad. Look at that jackass. Look at that. That was about it. But the creating bug never goes away. So when I'm down here, that's why I'm involved in the local theater. That's why I write the articles for the local newspaper. It never goes away. It's got to come out somehow, whether you're writing for the newspaper or being on the local stage or whatever, or just hiring people to do better shows on the Richmond Community Theater. There has to be an outlet here for it.
And what a great transition. Tell us about the local theater.
We just trained. I mean, we had a Mary Dawkins was our longtime director, and she retired. we had someone step in, but they treated us kind of like a side hustle, which for the money we pay, that's all we are, is a side hustle. But we needed something better than that. We transitioned to a guest director format where we pay flat rates for individuals to come in and direct shows for anyone. And that is working for us better. They come in, they do what they want. Our next show is Dearly Departed, which is a dark Southern comedy about family dysfunction erupting at a patriarch's funeral. And so far so good. We had a Christmas show that was a big hit. This show is fully cast, and we never have a fully cast show.
Really?
Ever. Always, everybody whines about board members stepping into roles and stuff like that, but we've had to because we don't have enough people come out. The Dearly Departed is the first time no board member has ever had to step on the stage.
I'd like to give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
I was a pro wrestler for 16 years, right? And I'm sorry, guys,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never tried it without, having to follow.
Well, my buddies, in the late 90s, when I was the sports editor pilot, a young man used to come in and give me his handwritten accounts of his wrestling shows at the National Guard Armory. And I would publish them. I would rewrite them because they're written like shit. But I would publish them. And then he would invite me to go to his shows. I'd go out. So when they got signed, that was Matt Hardy. And so when he and his brother,
someone tagged Matt in this one.
And he had very nice handwriting. Give him that. But I reached out to them years later when they were big deals in the WWE because I was dating a lady whose nieces loved Jeff. They had the arm sleeves and everything, that his hand gestures and all that sort of thing. So I was still in the movie business. I wanted to put Jeff in the movie business because he's this weird Johnny Depp kind of dude. And we were making a low budget horror movie, and everybody was offering movies to John Cena and established stars.
Yeah.
And they were horrible. Which is like,
Yeah.
I would rather have Jeff. Jeff's fucking weird. I would do all kinds of stuff with Jeff. So we went out to dinner. The movie never materialized, but I got to sit down and hang out with him for a long time. And he is just a good homebody soul.
Yeah.
He really is. In spite of whatever you've read, the proclivities, the addictions, whatever, that's all a real thing. That all really happened. But the guy I met was just a nice, like he's a single dad, not a single dad, but he's got one daughter like I do. He's just a good dude. And the reason that all materialized is I wrote him an email or a letter or something. We had a friend in common. We had a go-between. And I think she was cutting my hair.
Mm.
And I said, send this to Jeff because my nieces really adore him. And they think he's like a superhero that stepped out of the comic books. And he was so touched by it that he gave us front row seats to a house show in Greensboro.
Oh.
And so I drove all the way up to Virginia to grab my nieces, and we didn't tell them what we were doing. And then we just put them front row center. And then Jeff Hardy, they just lost their minds. And that's the kind of guy Jeff is.
Dude, Matt. So I've met him a couple times through wrestling here and there, but I used to run the Papa John's and everything, and regular customers there.
Yeah.
When me and my ex-wife broke up, the day we broke up, I was pretty fucked up about it, right?
Yeah.
Matt comes in and he looks at me and he's just like, "What's wrong?" I stood outside with Matt Hardy for 30 minutes and he listened to me cry. And we're strangers, right? And they're both just really, really just
really good guys.
Right.
And it's really fun to see them healthy and wrestling and together and everything. It was just, he got put through the ringer with Lita and all that nonsense. And I can't even get into all that, but I just watched him go like this, And then I got rehired by the WWE, and then Jeff falls off the wagon. And it just goes. It's good to see them.
But they're doing great now.
Yeah.
Shout out Champagne. We love you too, Marty.
Oh my God! I brought him up to my girlfriend today. Today, how did you bring up Marty? Today.
I messaged him like a week or so ago, and he hasn't texted me back yet, trying to get him to come on.
Oh my God, he was like, I was part of that whole Aberdeen scene. Right? My best pal was Dale Fry. His trainer was teaching me how to box, and I go to Dale's stunt gigs.
Yeah,
I go watch him do stunts and that sort of thing. To watch his boxing matches as his career tailed off. And we would go, that was the Pure Gold days. All right. That was a strip club there. And they were all bouncers at the Gold. And Marty was one of the bouncers. And Marty had the hair down here. And I was like, you got to go watch one of these in-house wrestling shows. Because he was part of the Hardy crew.
Yeah.
So we would go to the National Guard. And he came out. And he had the best wrestling name ever. I was trying to explain this to Robin today. Champagne, but it was spelled CHAMPPAIN. Champagne.
So I hurt my neck a few years ago, so I did ring announcing for my past 2 years. He is from Las Vegas, Nevada. The man that traded into G-string for the wrestling ring. First name Cham, last name Payne.
He was so great. He's always the heel, and he's such a dick that he's great at it.
I love his outside work. He was on Kenny Jones. Yeah. He was on Lizard Lip Towing.
Yeah.
Then he drove his car into a lake.
He's tailor-made for all that.
He is.
He will play. What's wonderful about him is he's not like that at all. No, not at all. Not at all. But he'll play it to the hill. You wanted me to be a brain-dead redneck? Sure, whatever. He's so brilliant, he can go do that, and just have fun with it.
Nice.
I gotta see him. Again. I haven't seen him in forever.
So Brent says hello. Hey Brent, how you doing, buddy?
Hey,
but Alyssa wants to know, where did the inspiration for your book come from?
That's a good question because, like you, Ray, I lived here for a while and I went away and came back, but it was here in Moore County. And what a lot of people don't know is when we were in North Carolina in the 80s, I was hiding from my dad. My mom used little-known loophole in the law, custody-wise, to get me away from him. He had taken me on this. He gets the old-school custody rules every other weekend with dad, 2 weeks in the summer. Everybody knows what that rule. He decided to extend my 2 weeks into a month and a half. He didn't bring me back. So I got my kid brother. We got on bikes. We rode to the New York border, and my mom picked us up. Yeah. But the next day, we grabbed a flight to North Carolina. And we only spent a week in Seven Lakes up there in Moore County. But we didn't know it was reconnaissance on my mother's behalf. A month later, we were living there. And we lived 4 peaceful years till he found us. And he found us because he put me on the back of a milk cart.
Sorry. I didn't think those ever worked.
Yeah.
I did not have a clue those ever worked.
Yeah.
Well, why did we quit doing it?
Yeah, I don't know. Because one of the things about it, and I wrote an article about this, they didn't have any sort of, protocols to ferret out. Like, some people shouldn't be found. Like, if you buy the story hook, line, and sinker, you have all their resources at your disposal. But what if you're the guy that's the predator or this or that? I mean, how do you wean that out?
Yeah.
So it's part of the reason why, and I might be part of the reason why that people aren't on milk cartons anymore. But I got sold out by a middle school classmate. And the next, it was like 2 days later, a state trooper was knocking on our door with a summons. My dad found us. They called the 1-800-TIP line, and the girl went into court. They made a big deal of it. There was press. There was WREL, whatever. This was in Tarboro. We were living in Tarboro at the time. And she walked in with all their classmates, and they thought this was a wonderful thing. It reunited with me. She She saw the look on my face, and she lost it and ran out. She realized she had made a huge mistake. Yeah. And so that time in Seven Lakes was the happiest time of my life. And that was the essence of 3 Miles of Eden. I was like, what if I could go back to that? But it's not enough to just write a Valentine, a place that you hid out for 4 years. What if you used it to fix something else? And that's when the murder mystery came up and all that sort of thing. But I was living in Seven Lakes at the time, owned a home there at the time, and I just said, what if I turn this into a murder mystery and I go back to my favorite time period and I have the main character try to undo this murder 30 years in the past in my favorite version. And that's how it happened.
Huh.
So what?
That's interesting.
So what happened? What happened in court? You got me.
He got visitation back. So the judge said, I don't know what to do with this pile of shit, is what he really said. So the first thing is Easter weekend was coming up. So we were ordered to go visit with him at the bed and breakfast in Tarboro in our own kind of backyard and hang with him for the weekend. And it went okay. And then my brother had to go spend 2 weeks with him in Connecticut, which is where he's from. And then because he had eyeballed me as the orchestrator of The Great Escape, we weren't allowed to go together. So my brother had to go first. And then we did the exchange at the airport where my brother came off the plane, I walked on the plane, that kind of thing. I landed, I think it was in Newark. And my dad picked me up, and I didn't know how this was going to go because he knew that I did this. He knew. My dad was a big, bad ex-Marine. Never worked out, always had a build. And, that guy, pot belly. But he looked like the Iron Sheik. You remember that? And he had just a demeanor. And we're in a Pontiac Brougham, those big old land yachts that our dads used to drive. Got the bench seat. I looked at him, he goes, listen here, you little son of a bitch. I was like, uh-oh. My brother's visit with my dad lasted 2 weeks. Mine lasted 2 days. And the cops were called.
You called him?
I didn't call him. I was 16 years old and built like a brick shit house. We got in a fight. and the cops came out. And I walked away just like I did years ago. I walked the same path, no bike this time. And at this point, there was a house via the little trail that I went through. And it happened to belong to an off-duty cop. He's like, well, what the hell are you doing on my property? I told him. He phoned it in. I was back with my mom in 2 hours. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. So we had another one here from Melissa. She wants to know, how did you choose the title for your book? Does it hold a personal significance?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like I said, that time in the 80s was the happiest time of my life. So that is my Eden. And the thing about Ray is he only has 3 miles of it. When he time travels, it's the 3 mile loop around Sequoia. So he has 3 miles in 1984 with his best adolescent buddies, but that's all he has. So that's the essence of the title.
So for the 3 miles, you could go at like 12 years old.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
He can step into his 12-year-old self for 3 miles. But when he comes back, he's back in, I guess it was 2016 when the book came out. But yeah, it holds a lot of personal significance, and the reason for the title is that it was my personal Eden from my childhood.
Interesting. Well, there you go, Alyssa.
Liz has got good questions.
She does.
Yeah.
She does. She always does.
Mhm.
She dang sure does.
I guarantee you she's going to read the book.
I mean, there's a copy of it in the Hamlet Library.
She already downloaded it.
Yeah.
What's your reading streak right now? Did you, what was it when you lost it?
Jesus.
She's the teacher.
Me too. I was a teacher for years. High school English. But if I get on the new one, because the same thing happened where I wrote a bunch of stuff, I just left it, you know, and then all of a sudden I open it up again and I Forrest Gump my way to the end, you know. That's gonna happen now that I'm in this house, and Ray will tell you that the house that I moved into has a long story that mirrors my story quite a bit, and it reminds me of my grandparents' house. 44 Forest Avenue in Pearl River, where you could hear the trains in the distance. It was an Irish immigrant town. There's more bars than stores, and everybody's a cop that commutes into the city. And your bartender is a tattooed Irishman fresh off the boat that's pissed that you even walked in the building. And not that Hamlet reminds me. But the old houses and the trains in the distance are what I'm talking about. And it's funny. It has the glass doorknobs like my grandmother's house had and that sort of thing. It's like, you know what? I've been through the ringer in the last few years. So to secure this house reminds me so much of my grandmother's house. And I'm going to have that for the rest of my days. And the previous owners, they were my age when they bought it in the 90s. And they lived out the rest of their lives. That was the Johnson family, and Ann Johnson was the librarian for Richmond County for decades, and where I've donated a copy of 3 Mile. And not only that, she was in the film business. She did costuming. I think we have one filmed here, Billy Bathgate, down in when the theater's still on a marquee or whatever. The 90s heyday of North Carolina film. She was a big part of it. So we have a lot of parallels, you know, writing, film, that sort of thing. I was the person that should have gotten her house. Yeah, not an investor, not some jackass that was going to flip it, but me, who's going to build my life there.
Yeah.
And I just updated my will. My daughter's going to inherit it, but the caveat, she can never sell it. She can never rent it. She could do Airbnb. She could do this, but that house will never be a dilapidation like you see here in Hamlet. Anything like that? No, that house will remain as is or better for the rest of its life.
I got to give kudos to the city, though. They are trying to kind of counteract some of that with the fines and all the such that they're trying to do. Keep your house up to date, keep it cleaned up, keep your yard well kept, stuff like that. Which I'm down for. I just wish they would kind of incorporate that on into the downtown area, into our commerce area.
Yeah.
If you've got a dilapidated building, well, tear it down, fix it, do something. It needs to have a business in there. If you don't put a personal business in there, then you need to list it up for rent. It needs to be repaired, ready to go, instead of just letting everything rot. I wish they would bring that to the downtown area, same as they do in our residents.
Except at least one or two of your councilmen own a lot of this shit.
I mean, some of that is true. Some of that is true. But I think the people they're starting to get tired of it too. I think that they're about ready. Like, hey, you know what? There's so much promise. There's so much, you know, capabilities to Hamlet. Like, there's no way we're just letting this place rot away, right? Like, it doesn't make sense why you would even want to own these properties that are falling apart and not do anything with it. So I would love to see them do something with the downtown area. It's time.
Well, here's the funny thing. When I moved here in the late 90s, I was in Southern Pines, and it was adorable. and Southern Pines down is Philidor.
Mm.
But it's starting to become Cary. Cary was adorable in the 80s. Yeah. And then Cary became Cary. You know, yeah.
I moved to Cary after high school, 2004.
Yeah.
Right. And I was there till 2012.
That was in the boom. That was in the boom. Till in
Yeah. The
Mhm.
Carolina area for relocation of Yankees, right?
Mhm.
Like my kids when 2011-ish, 2010, they had iPads in school, right? Like when every kid got an iPad, a brand name iPad. Like they had cameras in the school way before anybody.
Yeah.
It was
here, like,
the thing about it is the reason I bring it up is Hamlet could be what Southern Pines was.
yeah,
And I think we would be very much better at keeping ourselves from becoming Cary. We would always be Southern Pines, like Southern Pines Life, what Southern Pines originally was.
Yeah.
I don't see us with targets and all that other shit around. I don't see us. That's not why I moved here. You know, I moved here because this reminded me of the
it's
places
just build
I
a
lived.
target.
Yeah. I moved here because it reminded me of the places I lived as a kid. You don't have neighborhoods like this anymore. Space between houses, things like that. Yeah. Cookie cutter developments. Of course, we have that going on. We do, but it ain't in front of us. You know, it's not overt. I think the difference will be that NASCAR's come back. There's a reason for people to put things here. And people don't realize it's called Rockingham Speedway, but I think it's in Hamlet.
It is. It is. It's actually the outskirts of Hamlet. But yeah.
So, but I guess the Rock sounds better than the Ham.
Yeah.
But I would really like to see. I don't want people to come in here and just say, "Oh, look at this cute little town. Let's throw money at this," because we have been there before. We've had deep pockets come in here, and I'm not going to drop names, but they got a lot of money, but they don't remember what it's like to work for a living. They don't know how to make a business thrive and build and stay. They can throw money at something and renovate something and go, "Isn't this in my adorable hobby?" On my way to the beach, you know, and we need real people who want to, you know, make real businesses and not just make us a toy.
Yeah.
You know, the reason this place exists is because Ray took it over. It was somebody's toy, and Ray made it a real thing.
Yeah. It was still fun back then. I enjoyed it even back then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they let me run this place, and they basically stayed out of my way. And I love this place. I'm like, well, I don't want Hamlet to lose it. Yeah, they did kind of treat it like, you know, this doesn't really matter to us. We like to do it because we just enjoy having fun out here. But yeah, I'm trying to make it a staple of the community.
Well, it is. And what's funny about Axe to Grind is no matter, it's the only thing that's lasting. Everything else dies. Just dies.
Yeah.
And Reyes has not only just kept it afloat, but kept it thriving. And that is an anomaly, whether it's here or Rockingham. Hitchcock, that little bar grill, Hitchcock in Rockingham was adorable and great food. And it died quick, you know. And somebody's about to open some foo-foo wine bar, and the old bank used a historic grant to renovate it. I don't have any hopes for that either. Yeah.
How much wine do you sell around here?
I don't do a lot of wine. No, I don't. Matter of fact, I mean, the craft beer, there's a good market for it here, but the bulk of the people that come in, they just want the regular commercial stuff.
Yeah.
And which is why I carry it.
Say what you want about Hudson Brothers, but you can't kill them. They are a staple. They are.
They've been there as far back as I can remember. My mother worked there. Like, I love Hudson Brothers. I truly do. I go there just for my own personal enjoyment.
I worked at Champs in my early 20s, Champs in Lauraberry,
Oh, yeah.
and it's gone now.
Yeah.
It's
I forgot where I was. I think I went back home for a christening. I'm in my 50s now. A, I have no memory. B, I'm always on a plane to go to somebody's christening or this, or be a godfather to somebody else. I put a moratorium on godfathering. I'm not allowed to be a godfather anymore. But I was in Philadelphia, and they were like, "Where are you from?" I live in North Carolina. Where? Hamilton. Is that in Richmond County? I go, "Yeah." How do you know that? He goes, "Do you know Hudson Brothers?" Because I stopped there in the 80s. I go, "It's still there." I sure.
So when I was in the 8th grade, when I was in the 6th grade, we moved up to Manassas, Virginia. It's right outside of DC. 8th grade, my civics teacher, he's going around, he's trying to get to know everybody. And he was like one of the cool teachers, one that wanted to be buddies with you. And he's going around, and he gets to me, wants to go, obviously hears an accent. I don't sound like them. Where are you from? And I tell him, and that's the name that he drops is, "Oh, Hudson Deli." I'm like, "Oh yeah, Hudson Brothers Deli. Yeah. That's like my mom worked there right before we moved up here."
It is a staple. I don't think they've changed their menu in 30 years, and everybody loves it, and they're going to go there every time. But also, the staff, you got Diane Whitfield, you got people who've been there forever. They go for them as much as they go for anything else.
It's true.
I go in there just to say hi to Diane, and her husband, I think his band just recently played here. And
Eric.
Yeah. And that's what it's about. And I think that's a great thing. And somehow we need to find a way. You found a way to not replicate it, but do something similar here. Everybody who comes into this town needs to follow the Hudson Brothers mantra. Really, be something that people care to go see and are loyal to because you're a decent place. And Ray has had to fight to keep this place decent, because when other places go south and there's nowhere else for that element to go, that element will come here.
Yeah.
And he has been judicious of going, nope.
No, we love our vibe here. And that's the big part of Axe to Grind, right? Like, I mean, we have all our great pizzas and all that other stuff, but it's the vibe here is what people come for. So we try to guard that. You know what I mean? This is somewhere for the local crowd to be able to come, to hang out, to be happy, meet a few new people, but you've got to keep the energy positive, and you've got to, you need to be in a forward thinking atmosphere.
There's always going to be anomalies that walk in off the street.
Yes.
You just had one.
Yeah, that's true. That guy, wow. And here's the thing is, like, I'm like, man, I'm tired. I've been here, open to close. I'm going to go ahead and take the evening off. It should, what I'm saying? You guys have got it. You know what to do. And then and look, kudos to my staff. They handled it magnificently. But if these things come to you, and it's when you're not expecting it, you know what I mean? Out of left field, it's just random stuff. But they handled it. They seemed like I immediately shut it down and get it away from here as quickly as you can. And you know what I mean? Call the police, call whoever you got to, but get that problem gone and away.
Well, I've told you this before. The police, I'm sure, appreciate the way you handle things, and that you're an open book, and you will call them at the drop of a hat or hire security and that sort of thing. Because they don't want a problem. They've got their shit. We've got our own problems in the county. Yeah, they've got plenty of things to handle. They don't need a hot spot, which is what this could become if you let that element run wild. But the other thing is, Ray lives down the road. Okay, if you're a business owner, that's the way it works here. You live down the road. You don't live in Charlotte. You don't farm out the responsibilities. You take personal responsibility. And if you got to get up in the middle of the night and go handle business, that's what we love about here. Other people who are opening business here they don't get that. That's the way it has to be. You got to live here. You got to live it. You got to breathe it. Everything the way Ray does. And if you don't do that, you're not gonna live. No.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
I appreciate it, fellas, and it's hard work, but it truly is a labor of love. Like I love this place.
Yeah.
I think that it's what it does for the community, bringing every walk of life together to be in harmony and everybody just enjoy each other's presence. I think it's an important thing, and every town should have one.
Well, I don't know what I would do. I walk in here with my daughter, I order pizza. I don't know if Ray told you, but my girlfriend that I keep mentioning is the one that facilitated the purchase of my house. So I fell for my realtor. That may be a breach of protocol. I don't know what it is. But now she and I are a thing. The first thing I did was bring her here. I was like, this is the only place I go besides Hudson Brothers, and I rarely go to Hudson Brothers. I rarely leave Hamlet. But when I walk in, I see Ray's daughter, and I know everything she's up to. And I told her I have contacts in the car industry, and she wants a car. And I said, you go to Florida with that boyfriend? I ain't doing shit.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you heard that, Rianne.
But that's what your life's supposed to be. And that's what my grandmother's life in Pearl River was. Until my grandfather died in the 60s, and she held it together alone for as long as she could. But she had that life. It was the Hamlet of New York.
Yeah.
It literally was. I love the fact that its name is Hamlet, because Pearl River was a hamlet to a bigger town, and but it's almost like I have her life at this point.
Yeah.
Which is people don't realize that is what life is about.
Yeah, it's super cool. The lead guitarist in my band just inherited his mom's house, and it's been in their family 130 years.
Jesus.
And now he's fixing it up, and he's gonna spend the rest of his life there, and he's excited to be. You know what I mean? Like
I told my 13-year-old daughter, I said, I'm leaving you this house. I'm telling you now. I'm meeting with a lawyer. You can't sell it. You have to keep it up. You can't let it be used and abused by renters. It can be an Airbnb. And she's AIG, brilliant girl. She's like Ray's daughter, super smart. She's like, it might be a nice summer home. I was like, okay. I guess you expect to be super successful, and that'll be fine, but you're always going to have a place to be. And you want to Airbnb it? That's great. If that's all your Airbnb is. Everybody in my family we have been through divorce and all these things, and we have had nowhere to live. My family will always have something.
It is.
It's amazing perspective, right? Like, I get that.
Yeah.
And Robin, my realtor / girlfriend, she's the one that said, you were supposed to buy this house because nobody else would have appreciated this house. They would have flipped it. They would have done this. I was like, no, this is my family's home now. That was the difference between, we didn't haggle back and forth. I met the executor, one of the oldest siblings. She's like, I don't know what to do. I'm in probate. And I was like, no, it'll be fun. I'm buying this house. I'm going to buy this house. And if I find anything that belongs to you along the way that you forgot, well, you live around the corner, so I would just bring it to you. And that's the way it's supposed to be. It really is. And unfortunately, I don't think that the generation below ours gets that, which is why that house had no traffic.
Yeah.
They want something ready-made, new. They do not appreciate any of this.
Yeah. And that is a gorgeous house. And you can, if you walk through the house, you can kind of see, there's an addition on here. So I'm imagining, hey, the kid he brought home and, or she brought home a significant other and they had to expand onto the house. And you'll see another part like, well, look, the family started growing. So they outgrew their portion of the house and had to add to it again. And you can see that throughout his whole house, even especially when you go down to the basement and you start looking through, you can see where they like, all right, well, that was different foundation than it is over here. Same principles, but different way of doing it.
I got a creepy Silence of the Lambs looking basement.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
That's pretty
It's
cool.
awesome. It's got like 5 at the individual. Walk over there and pull the chain, cut on light.
Is that where you ride it?
No. I do it out on the back porch. Ray knows. I have this huge covered backyard with a tin roof.
Like practically his whole backyard is
covered.
underneath this little tin roof.
Mhm.
It's interesting.
I do it out there.
Yeah.
I have a big monitor where it can blow it up. My old ass can see what I'm writing. Yeah. That's what I do. But that whole idea is not something that the generation below ours seems to embrace. It is, which is a shame. Which is why you have a lot of these dilapidated houses. They are inherited by people who don't live here.
Mhm.
And your council can find them out the wazoo. They give no shit.
Yeah.
They're never going to pay those fines. You can't. The council really has no recourse. What I said when I talked to Amy, our mayor, whom Ray is friends with, and she's very personable, and she'll talk to you off the cuff and that sort of thing. I was like, can you start confiscating property and say, listen, we're going to auction it off to the first construction company that wants to do shit with it. You're not going to get any response to anything. And that's what I think they should do.
Yeah, I mean, but you're absolutely right. People that are buying things up around here don't live here.
Yeah.
You know?
Or so the thing is they buy it cheap, right? If you buy something cheap, it's basically disposable at that point. You're like, I bought it cheap. It's got a little leak in the roof. And then you never bother to fix that leak in the roof. And that leads to more problem. Now the foundation's getting undermined, so on and so forth. And I think that's just kind of what's happened to Hamlet as a whole. You know, as when the 90s, all the mill jobs that were in Richmond County, they all left. They went to Mexico. They went to, wherever they went, Italy, wherever. And once that left out of here, that was our workforce. That was our main source of income. When that was gone, nobody wanted to live here no more. So these kids, they would move away. Mom and dad, they're like, hey, do you want the house? No, I don't want it. Like, we're just going to sell it, and they're going to sell it as fast as they can for the cheapest, to get it off underneath me. I don't want to pay taxes on it. I don't want nothing to do with it anymore. And a few generations of that, now look where we're at.
Yeah.
I look at some of the commercial properties, and some of them are kept up. I know Blake Holman, local realtor, local guy. He's the one that told me, he goes, yeah, very few of them are occupational ready, where somebody can move. Most of them are wrecked. And
These are people buy them cheap, and you do this 2 times, and now the person there really don't care.
Look at Mayberry Drive, owns the dilapidated property next to it.
Yeah.
They know, and they do nothing with it.
Yeah, it's being used for storage.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Nothing.
I just kind of wish they would clean that window where they got all the stuff stored. I wish they would just build a display there, even if you're never going to do anything with the business. At least build a display there, make it look, presentable. Whatever it is, do a holiday, do a seasonal display, something. Just put something in that window 2 foot deep. It ain't going to take up too much of your storage space and make it look better over there.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is also the businesses that come into Hamlet have to be something that people use. Like, you're not going anywhere. The hardware stores and effing going anywhere. I love that place.
Yeah.
You can't walk into a hardware store like that any longer or see those kinds of people. You can't anywhere. And
they care. You get greeted when you come in. Let me help you find whatever you're looking for. They've got the pieces that Lowe's doesn't carry. They got it.
Well, Ray saw me yesterday, covered in shit. I got a problem in my hand. I walk in, they solve the problem. I walk out. I go. Your business has to be that. It has to be that. It can't be like they had some D&D gaming, comic book type store that lasted like 6 months.
We don't have the population
we
for it.
don't have that,
That's the problem. Interesting idea. No, I think it was a great idea. It's just we
disagree.
don't have the population to support it.
Would work. I think
It
it would have
didn't.
worked, but they weren't open on like Saturday mornings and afternoons.
No.
That's the time where you're gonna be busy.
I'll tell you what, we need a gym We need probably a pool hall, some old
Yeah.
school shit like that, or like the arcade in Southern Pines, the rec room, something
Well,
like that.
no, we have this VR arcade right up here by Hardee's that gets zero attention.
Yeah, and because it's VR, I put those goggles on once and I was like, oh fuck this.
Oh, it's more than it's more than that. It's more. It's completely immersive. They got the little floors that you walk on, and you're like,
That makes it worse.
It makes it worse. He said, "We're old, we're fat, we just want to play some pinball and go
I
home."
know, we just want to play pinball. And go.
Yeah, that's it.
I want to play Jaws pinball and go home.
But that's another thing, and I'll tell you, as a business owner, it's like, people don't come to you and give you that information. You know what I mean? That's why, like, when I'm trying out a new recipe, I'm like, don't tell me what you like about this pizza or whatever it is I'm making. You tell me what you don't like about it, and I'm going to give you this for free. I'm basically buying your opinion at that point. Don't tell me, oh, I really like, the crispiness of it. Like, no. What was the part that you didn't like? Oh, the flavor. All right, great. Like, we got something to work with now. You know what I mean? I've never heard that one coming back, but yeah, that's when I ask. It's like, what do you not like about it? And it's usually like, arbitrary stuff, but it gives you a direction to go. Like, okay, well, they didn't like that. That's probably because of, X, Y, Z.
Mhm.
Let me push in that direction. I guarantee you, not one person has come to this guy with the VR arcade and said, you know what? We don't really care for the VR stuff. That makes me sick on my stomach. I'd much rather come in here and play Street Fighter 2, and I'll give you $5 an hour to sit here and play this. Ain't no problem.
Well, now I'm gonna go down there and tell them that.
Honestly, and like people they worry about hurting somebody's feelings. Like, don't worry about my feelings. You tell me what I'm doing wrong so I can fix it, and I would be more than happy. Any business owner that owns a business would be more than happy to go through and fix any problem that you see.
Well, I would say that people who live in Hamlet don't like to leave Hamlet. We just have to leave Hamlet. We have to go. We have to leave Hamlet to go to the gym. There's 4 gyms in there. There's Freedom Fitness. There's Evolution, which is more for hardcore people. Top Guns and whatnot. There's like in Planet Fitness. There's like 4 gyms. There's room for another gym. If we had a gym in Hamlet, somebody opened a gym in Hamlet, everybody in Hamlet would go.
Yeah.
We don't like to. Nobody wants to drive 20 minutes to go to the gym. We want to go 5 minutes before we talk ourselves out of going to the gym.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. So you're ready to wrap things up?
I've got a class.
Yeah.
I was trying to be discreet about it, but he ain't gonna let me do that. I've got a class that I have to attend. I am more than happy to kind of just step out and let you guys continue on if you so wish to.
What time is it?
It's 8:00.
Oh, I got.
Okay.
You gotta go too.
Before we go, Sean, tell them where they can buy the book.
Amazon.
Any-
Or anywhere. It's the deal that I work my own deal with Amazon, and then I work my own deal to distribute it everywhere else. If you go in Books A Million, Barnes and Noble, anything, they may not have it on the shelf, but they'll order it for you. But if they're gonna do that, just order it from Amazon.
We'll throw a link down in the bio. My band Echo Vibe will be here on Good Friday, April 18th, from 9 o'clock until. What are you plugging, Ray? Anything?
We have our first ever bike night Tuesday. So you come out. There's going to be adult fun. We'll say adult fun. Leave it at that. And that's kind of it. Our normal stuff. We're going to have carry.
Is that the shirtless dudes that are going to shimmy about?
No, that's May 9th. You talking about the male entertainers? No, that's in May 9th. This is bikers. We're going to do a wet T-shirt contest. $100 to whoever the crowd decides the winner. Like, we're not basing on nothing other than crowd favorite. $100 to whoever gets the most cheers or the most votes, or however we end up doing it.
I think you just sold that.
I think we're fine. Yes.
So
try to keep my middle-aged girlfriend off the stage because she will run right up there.
no, well, you send her right on up. We are ready for it.
She's like $100. She's $100.
Yeah.
$100 to whoever gets the most votes. So hey, look, I've had guys coming to me asking, "Hey, can I get in?" I'm like, I don't care. whoever gets the most votes. You want to go up there and get the most laughs. I mean, that's up to you. If you want to get, hey, if you do something to really impress the people there and you get the most votes, I don't know. Because whoever gets the most votes or screens or whatever, they're the ones getting $100.
Good titties are good titties. I don't
Yes.
Amen.
discriminate.
Everybody loves them, right?
Well, all right,
All right.
everyone. Like, subscribe, share, all of that. Buy Sean's book,
Yep, definitely go check out the book.
and we'll see you next Sunday.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for coming. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was trying to be discreet.